Triumph Tiger Sport 660. Let's talk about the world of sport touring. The British manufacturer knows the value of this category, and for 2026 is taking it to the next level. The name doesn't change, the spirit doesn't change, but it gets more muscle. Same engine displacement, but more power. Three cylinders, 660 cubic centimeters and 95 horsepower, the same engine that powers its naked sibling, the Trident 660. A rev range that expands and allows the engine to spin up to over 12,000 RPM, confirming its sporty character. But it's not just the power figure that should pique your interest and spark your desire to ride. It's all the improvements made to make riding even more enjoyable and safe. New throttle bodies, new engine mapping, updated gearbox and clutch.
The three-cylinder engine is the real cornerstone, together with its little sister, the Trident, the less sophisticated and less sporty naked bike compared to the Street Triple, with its 95 horsepower, truly the cornerstone of the project. Because it is finally an extremely mature engine, and surprisingly, it delivers power already from very low revs, just above 1500 RPM, with a second gear that really lets you exit corners effortlessly, and an ability to rev well beyond 10,000 RPM. Beyond that range, both torque and power start to drop off. You can feel it, there's no more thrust. The engine becomes a bit rougher and loses some of that typical liveliness and beauty that the English brand's three-cylinder is known for. But how does it perform? It's an engine I like. I notice some vibrations on the handlebars, just a little on the foot pegs and a bit on the seat, but they're definitely minimal, which means a very high level of riding comfort. 3 riding modes available: rain, road and sport. Sport mode is definitely the most exciting, delivering full power with a very responsive throttle. However, I do notice, especially when choosing the sportiest mapping, a slight on-off effect that, in my opinion, isn't just a matter of electronic management but also a mix involving the final transmission. A slight play that, when cornering a bit slowly, maybe in second gear when you completely close the throttle and then open it again, you feel this slight forward jolt, which is somewhat typical of fuel-injected engines. But it's absolutely tolerable. In road mode, you hardly notice it. And in rain mode, the power delivery is so softened that it's imperceptible. So, from this point of view, the revamped engine performs very well. I'd like to point out the option to disable the traction control, and still on the topic of driving pleasure, with this 3-cylinder, the cruise control, which is very easy to activate and simple to manage. It doesn't work with throttle blipping, that is when you return the throttle to zero, but to deactivate it during highway trips, you need to brake, pull the clutch or downshift. In other words, perform an action that turns off the cruise control. Still on the subject of the engine, I'd like to highlight the quality of the gearbox, which is quite precise. Probably this bike, compared to the Trident I tested, had a few more kilometers on it, making the gear shifts a bit more precise. The action is slightly rubbery, but there's less of a step, and it's quick enough both upshifting and downshifting. I also find the clutch to be a bit stiff, not the most comfortable to operate, and above all, it engages almost at the end of its travel. In my opinion, and I've pointed this out to the Triumph technicians who are well aware of it, what's missing is the clutch lever reach adjustment, whereas the brake lever does have a 5-position adjustment. I have a fairly small hand and I kept it on position 2, so it's already quite close by itself. There's no need to go all the way to 5, which is really very, very close to the rider.
I've seen dirty days, my friend.
Fun and intuitive, with cycling geometry and well-balanced weight. These are features that allow any type of rider to feel at home from the very first meters. Is the 3-cylinder engine partly responsible? Definitely yes, because the power and torque delivery provide an immediate sense of connection, but let's remember that this second generation of the Tiger Sport 660 has finally reached true maturity.
So lock your doors, cock your guns.
So, I'll start with the seat height. 835 millimeters in a single piece, but it can be lowered to 810 millimeters. The suspension travel is 150 millimeters both at the front and rear. The weight is 211 kilograms ready to ride. And a very interesting point, the fuel tank capacity has been increased to 18.6 liters. The stated fuel consumption is 4.9 liters per 100 kilometers. Today we rode a bit more aggressively, gave it a bit more throttle, and we averaged 6 liters per 100 kilometers, so a little higher, but in fact we were riding at a brisk pace and, well, it happens that fuel consumption goes up. As I was saying, the seat height is 835 millimeters, which means, first of all, you get good contact with both feet on the ground. I recognize that the work done on the tank and seat, allowing you to get your legs down comfortably, is definitely interesting. Also because I remember that the 3-cylinder engine underwent a series of very important technical changes, including the adoption of 3 throttle bodies, which in some way required rethinking the shapes beneath the tank. Yet it hasn't been penalized at all. In fact, it's even been improved. How does it feel sitting in the saddle? I'd say pretty good. I do notice that the seat is a bit hard and it pushes you downwards. It doesn't give you much room to move. Maybe it's a little too firm for my expectations as a motorcycle touring enthusiast, so I'd like it to be a bit more comfortable, but not softer, just able to maintain that high level of padding so that at the end of the day, you don't feel those slight aches. As for the riding triangle, it's very good, especially in terms of leg positioning. Let me remind you once again that I am 1.78 meters tall, but I do notice a slight imbalance, if you'll allow me the term, between the height of the seat and the height of the handlebars, with the risers being very, very tall. I would have perhaps preferred to have the seat slightly higher to put a bit more weight on the front end and maybe the handlebars a little lower to better triangulate the 3 key points of riding, which are the handlebars, the seat, and the foot pegs. Clearly, that's a very personal feeling of mine, but maybe something could be done there, perhaps by considering 2 levels, both of which could be optional. Certainly, a larger seat could be offered, and as for the risers, perhaps think about slightly lowering them. Still on the topic of riding position, I'd like to point out how easy it is to raise and lower the adjustable windshield, although it doesn't provide all the protection I was expecting. Even at its maximum height, which can be reached in a second, you can still feel the wind hitting your helmet and shoulders quite a bit.
There is a house in
Looking at the technical specifications, the data confirms what was felt from the very first meters. The seat height of 835 millimeters means that anyone can sit comfortably behind the adjustable windshield without worry. The weight of 211 kilograms isn't intimidating when the Tiger needs to be lifted off the kickstand for takeoff. And then you really can set off without a care in the world. Let's clarify one thing. The Tiger Sport 660 and the Trident 660 are 2 very different bikes, and you can tell just by looking at their chassis geometry, even though they share the same frame and engine. The longer travel suspension changes the wheelbase, which is longer on the Tiger, but this is offset by a shorter trail and a reduced steering head angle to maintain proper agility.
She sold my blue jeans.
And finally, on the cycling side, Showa suspension with 150 millimeters of travel, big piston-separated function fork, meaning the elements are separated for the management of hydraulics and pure mechanics. So the spring is on one leg and the other, adjustable monoshock for preload and rebound, preload with a remote adjuster that can be set in 30 steps, 30 clicks, and then rebound adjustment through a passage down here that leads directly to the adjuster. So basically, you can more or less tailor it to your needs. Compared to how the Tiger Sport 660 was provided to us this morning, it had basically 0 preload on the monoshock. To achieve a noticeable improvement in handling, I increased it to plus 15, which is exactly halfway up the scale available on the monoshock. Why? Because basically the bike sits a bit low, partly due to the big piston fork, which tends to keep the bike slightly raised and therefore not very eager to lean into corners or hold the line unless you load the front a bit with the brake and bring it in. So, by slightly increasing the preload on the rear, what happens? The bike, both while cornering and when exiting the turn, tends to squat a bit less, thus maintaining the preload setup achieved and putting a bit more weight on the front. In this way, the bike handles a bit better. However, I have to say that despite the sport touring vocation that the Tiger Sport 660 rightly has, so it's designed more for riding with a passenger. Also thanks to the nice passenger handles, the fairly comfortable position, And the seat, which is definitely compact but comfortable, where could it be improved? Probably the Tiger Sport 660 would benefit from a suspension system that works together better. In other words, the fork and the rear shock seem to operate a bit independently from each other. There's not much synchronicity. When I go into a corner, the front end dips but never really tells you exactly what it's doing, and the rear follows without much conviction. In short, perhaps the only weak point right now for Triumph's Sport Tourer is precisely related to the suspension. That's where you can start to improve and find a better setup. Applause for the rear brake. It's adjustable, easy to use, and responds precisely to the pressure you apply, allowing you to finish the turn in the best possible way. The performance of the dual front disc brakes with a diameter of 310 millimeters is good. The Nissin calipers work well, and the lever also responds properly, although there is always a slight amount of free play, feeling a bit spongy at the beginning. If I really have to make a genuine criticism of this bike, in my opinion, the instrumentation is no longer up to date. I mean, nowadays models from China come equipped with 5 or 7-inch TFT displays, packed with information and very easy to read, while the one on the Tiger Sport 660 has been left a bit behind. I'll wrap up by reminding you of the main information. A new 660 cubic centimeter engine with 95 horsepower and 68 newton meters of torque. An engine that revs over 12,000 revolutions per minute and delivers its maximum torque at 8,250 revolutions per minute. It weighs 211 kilograms, has an 18.6-liter fuel tank, and features Showa suspension. If you want to know more about the Tiger Sport 660, which along with the Trident 660 are some of Triumph's new models for 2026, write below and I'll see you in the next video.
I